Hey everybody, Rob Cooey here, the MLM Solution. How you doing? Today is Monday, August the 30th. Here we are at the end of August. It's hard to believe this month just flew by, but here we are. And Labor Day weekend is right around the corner. That is awesome. I hope everybody is going to have a great time on that holiday weekend. And of course, as always, be safe as you're out celebrating. All right. With that being said, as you can see in the ticker, we go live every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is going to be no different. And the subject matter for today and is podcast number 242. Can you believe it? 242. The importance of cross-line considerations. That can be, we did an episode on cross-line. Do not go cross-line ever. And we talked about we gave examples of that, the damage that can cause, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, we don't always say don't do something without giving reasons, and we did that in that episode. You can find that episode by putting in Crossline in your search on our Facebook page or YouTube channel. That being said, today is different. The importance of crossline considerations, because there are times where you can work with someone, another leader, and bring your organizations together without causing any damage for the most part. We're going to look at that in other situations, so that if you ever get yourself in a situation, you can consider under certain conditions working together and having a cross-line situation. We are going to cover that because it's so important. Most people are not even aware of this term, cross-line, and what it means. So you do not want to miss this as we take a deep dive into this, so that you have a clear understanding of how this works and cause no damage if it's done properly. That is the biggest part, right? So with that being said, as we said, always, we go live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And how do you find us? By simply utilizing our hashtag, which is hashtag the MLM Solution. Once again, hashtag the MLM Solution. Please visit our website and hit the share button while you're there, themlmsolution.net. That is themlmsolution.net. With that being said, I'm going to hop off of here, and I'll see you guys here very shortly.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cooey and Marie Cannon.
Good morning, Miss Marie. Happy Monday, happy Monday, Monday.
Good morning. It is Monday, the last Monday of August. You know what that means, don't you? Summer is almost over.
Yes, I know.
Sad. It's sad.
Yeah, I know it, but
I don't know. I don't know what things are like where you are, where some of our other listeners are. But you know what? The kids have been back in school for 2 weeks already, which blows my mind how that happens. I don't know if they go longer now or what, because I mean, kids must be a lot smarter if they're going to school longer. Because I remember when I was a kid, we didn't go back to school until September.
Well, I'll tell you what.
This would be like our last big summer weekend, right? Right before Labor Day.
Yes. And you know what? I'll take when you and I went to school every day of the week compared to what these guys are going through.
Well, yeah. And I was going to say, back when we went to school, our biggest hazard was the dinosaurs we had to avoid, right? So.
That's right. Dinosaur poop in the road. Yeah, we're showing our age a little bit, aren't we?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
The subject for today is in the ticker there. I'm a little bit distracted because I'm trying to do multiple things. As a man, that's hard for us to do. The importance of cross-line considerations is the subject for today. And before we get started, as always, if you will, give us a thumbs up if you like what you hear and you understand the points we're making and how it can help you. Your feedback, your interaction, your engagement it lets us know immediately that we're hitting the nail on the head when you like it. And we're really appreciative when you do that. We're picking up new subscribers, Miss Marie, as we talk, and which is always awesome. And that leads us to this. Please share, like, and comment on our various social media platforms. All you got to do is use the hashtag the MLM Solution, hashtag the MLM Solution, and you can find our social media platforms, and then you can subscribe. If you go to our YouTube channel specifically, please register there. Hit the little bell twice so that you can be notified when we go live and when we upload new content. That being said, while we're at it, let's go ahead and talk about our live events. Miss Marie and I were just talking about this prior to the show. We have been working on that. Have we not, Miss Marie?
We have starting to prepare. It's coming.
Yeah. So we are, we just talked about some things to make sure we have all the important things highlighted as we move forward. And so we are taking this very seriously. We are going to make this happen. It's just a matter of when and where. We will keep you updated by simply responding to our list. It's that easy. How do you get on the list? By simply going to MLMmastersacademy.com. That's MLMmastersacademy.com. Or you can go to the website and just click the link at the top of the page. And it's also on our front page. If you just go to our website, you'll see it. You just scroll down, you'll see right there where it'll allow you to register there as well. So there's a couple ways to do it. We make it easy for you. And remember, this is a notification list only. There's no money required. This is just letting you know as we progress towards a date that this list will allow us to communicate with you. That's what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way. When you get on our list by simply filling out that form, there's no shenanigans. We're not going to sell you anything. We're not going to overwhelm you with 22,000 emails. We don't do that. It's nothing more, once again, than a daggone notification list. So we don't want you to be like us, where we get aggravated when people send us all kinds of daggone email, that is, of course. And as always, we're going to be talking about one of Miss Marie's favorite products. Are you making one or any one of these 4 critical mistakes? Well, you know what? Chances are great that you are. Why do I say that? Because most network marketers, and yes, even the veterans, make these mistakes. They're not even aware that they're making these mistakes. And they're working so hard to put their success foundation in place so that they can grow their business on that foundation. And guess what? As they're doing it, they're literally undermining and sabotaging their own progress and putting their own success in jeopardy by simply making one or all 4 of these mistakes. Are you making them? Well, if you're not sure, then guess what? You need this package. As you can see, it's 50% off right now. It is a limited time offer. Do not miss it. Once again, go to the website, themlmsolution.net, or you can go to 4, that's the number 4, criticalmistakes.com. Once again, that's the number 4, criticalmistakes.com. If you go there, once again, you're going to have the ability to purchase this. The package includes 1 video, 1 audio, 1 ebook, and a very powerful package. And that's not even including the surprise bonuses that come with each and every one of our packages. And those bonuses alone are worth hundreds of dollars. That's free to you. All right. With that being said, Miss Marie, I think we're done with our little promo, if you want to call it that, commercial, whatever you call it. I'm not sure. The bottom line is we're educating our people about what's available because we want to empower them with the right information, right?
Absolutely. I call it our value add. What else can you get besides listening to the podcast?
Yes.
Yep.
And once again, this is, we're going to ask for the sale, no doubt about it. We're business people. But here's the thing. Everything we do is designed to empower you with the proper knowledge, period. All right. With that being said, before we get started, tomorrow's episode is going to be the cost of doing business in MLM. The cost of doing business in MLM, once again, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please let everybody know you can join us live. All right. Miss Marie, did you have a good weekend before we get started?
I did. It was an exceptionally good one, actually. Weather has finally become tolerable here, in my opinion. Like the hot summer temperatures seem to be over. Still hot, don't get me wrong. It's warm, it's summer, but much, much better, much more tolerable for me. Because you got to remember, I come from the Great White North originally, so the hot
yes
doesn't work for me so well. How about you? How was your weekend?
Hot. It's still very hot here, intensely hot. And it can really wear on you as you get older. And additionally, my animals don't like it, as you can imagine. So I'm sure you can relate to that. You have experienced that, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
And how are the cats?
it doesn't help when the animals are older too, right? Because they definitely don't like the temperature changes.
Absolutely. And how are the cats before we go?
The cats have actually gone home. It was a long-term care situation. So this past weekend, they are back home. They're happy. They're
good.
Doing just fine. So I miss them. It's a little bit strange. I mean, every once in a while, like out of the corner of my eye, I think, oh, nope, that's not a cat. I don't know what that was. I'm seeing things, but
yeah, you miss them, no doubt. Well, good. I'm glad that they're home, but at the same time, I feel for you. I know what you mean. Our cats are getting older, and the senior alpha cat, she is getting, let's say, to be a challenge. That's putting it lightly. She is gotten to the point where she is bitching at everybody for any reason whatsoever.
I was going to say cats are kind of like people that way, as we get older, we get less tolerant of crap and we don't put up with a lot, and cats definitely. And I think in my experience, at least female cats are definitely more that way than male cats. I don't know why that is, but yeah, it's interesting.
It is. It's been a challenge and an eye opener, to say the least. But you know what? You just keep loving them and embracing them and try to tolerate them. Sometimes I'll let her outside just to shut her up. She drives me freaking nuts. All right. With that being said, guys, we'll get on with our show. Enough of the visitation. Miss Marie and I always visit, as we said, many times. We don't talk during the week outside of the show, and we don't talk on the weekend, and we kind of catch up on the show. And and before the show today, which is unusual for us, we talk business. And we rarely even talk before the show other than, hey, are you ready? So, all right. I'm sure people think, well, no, you guys are too polished, man. You make this thing look easy, and there's no way that you guys don't talk. And, well, sorry to disappoint you. No, we don't. All right. That's when you know you have a good team, right, Miss Marie?
Well, hopefully. Otherwise, the reverse may be true. It may be, well, that explains why you guys are going off on tangents and doing those things. It's like, you're not following a script. No, you don't follow a script.
No, we don't. No, we do not. Everything is spontaneous and real and in real time. So, all right. With that being said, today's an interesting subject. We talked about Crossline before, but what we did in that episode, we talked about do not go Crossline, and here's why. We talked about the negative impact that going Crossline can have. And we talked about how to avoid that, and if it does happen, how to overcome it, like we do in a lot of our episodes. But this episode is going to be a little bit different because there are times when you're going to work together. We're going to give you some examples as leaders, and on the surface looks like, hey, they're going cross-line. They said not to do that. Well, that's not true, and this is not splitting hairs here. This happens a lot, and I'm going to give you some real-life examples and show you that it's very possible, and it can have a huge impact. And I guess the bad thing is that we're using the same terms, cross-line, or the same two words, and that can definitely cause confusion, because I can see where you would say, well, they just said in that other episode not to, and now they're talking about, well, there's no other way to describe what we're going to be talking about today other than the two words called cross-line. And you say, well, okay, what about considerations? Well, when you're sitting down as a leader and you're looking at what's going on and you want to maximize the opportunity, there are times where you're going to consider talking to another leader saying, hey, how about, okay? And that could come across as going cross-line. And what are you doing? You're considering working together. It's not really cross-line. Once again, this is not splitting hairs. You'll see why in a moment. And you're going to work together because you end up, you're in the same region, maybe the same city, whatever the case may be. And you say, well, you know what? I know Marie and she knows me, and we both have the same philosophies. We both have the same approach to building a business. There's no reason that we can't bring our organizations together under one roof. Right, Miss Marie?
Mm-hmm.
Because our people are taught the same. Okay. And so there's no danger of causing huge confusion and damage to your downline or your organization as a whole, because of the fact they're not going to get together and gossip and say, well, that's not what Rob teaches. Why does Marie teach you that? Okay. And we're going to talk about that in greater detail. Other things about Crossline Considerations is if your downline calls you, one of your downline leaders, that, hey, I live in, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we got people out here, and we like to all come together. You want your downline leaders to call you and ask for your endorsement. It's not asking for approval because it's their business. But if you have a good relationship with them and they trust you and they trust your knowledge and they say, hey, let's call Rob before we do this. In other words, bring two organizations together at Albuquerque. Make sure we're not destroying our business, because I remember they said going cross-line is a no-no. So before we do this, let's talk to someone that has knowledge about this. And they call and they say, Rob, this is what we're considering. Can you give us input? Is this going to be dangerous? Okay. And what you want to do is give your blessings on it if it in fact is going to work. And there's certain series of questions you ask them to make sure that it's going to work, but we're not going to get into that at this moment. We're going to stay focused on the topic at hand here. All right. So the importance of cross-line considerations is exactly what we're just talking about now. The people from Albuquerque are calling, and guess what? It's important that Rob take this consideration seriously, okay? Because it could have ramifications, negative ramifications for them if they don't do it right. And it's Rob's responsibility to verbalize the challenges, the pros and cons of it, and make them aware of what they can and cannot do so that they don't damage their business. If they damage their business, they're damaging yours as well, especially if they're really good leaders in depth. Right, Miss Marie?
Absolutely. Well, and one thing I want to point out too here is for those, because we have a lot of newer people following us. Let me just define the cross-line term, because when you're in a network marketing organization, there's a hierarchy that exists, right? And you'll often hear the terms upline. That's your upline leadership. Upline from you is the person who brought you into the business, who may or may not be the leader of the organization, the main person that you're getting your education training from, who you go to for, questions and answers and those types of things. And then as you're building your organization, people you bring into the business to work with you, that becomes your downline, right? So you've got upline, downline. Those are very popular terms. You hear those all the time. Crossline is a little less popular of a term. It may be a while before you encounter it in the course of doing regular business, because for the most part, not a lot is done crossline. The biggest thing with crossline is obviously it's somebody in the same network marketing company, but not in your line of business. It's in another line of business. So, for example, if Rob and I were both in the same network marketing company, but we had been brought into the business by Bill, who is our upline leader, Rob's organization, his people, Rob and his people are crossline across from me. So typically, a lot of network marketing companies, you'll read in their rules and regulations and whatever you call those things, how to do business, is you never recruit cross-line. So I don't go and try to grab some of Rob's people to bring them into my organization because they're really good business builders. That's definitely a no-no, and that's one of the biggest things you want to avoid with cross-line. But if Rob and I happen to be in the same city, maybe we want to put on an event, and it just becomes more economical to bring our groups together to do a training session or to do a recruiting event that benefits both of our organizations together, but individually. if that makes sense. Did I define that well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And let me give you guys a little visual. It's elementary and basic. Marie's organization, it's vertical, going up and down. Rob's, okay. Crossline is Rob's people in his organization, without our knowledge, going over here to work with Marie's people. Marie's in Utah, I'm in Kentucky. Because of technology, they're using Zoom, whatever, and they're all working Crossline without our knowledge, without our endorsement. And you might say, well, it's their business. They can do what they want. You're right. But we can't support that. Why? Because we don't know what they're teaching. And we can't endorse that activity because that causes chaos in your business. And you either have to say, hey, look, here's why you don't want to do that. And here's the results you're going to get if you do. And if they say, well, we're going to do it anyway, you say, well, I cannot support that. I will not work with you guys under these conditions. Okay. And they say, well, it's our business. And I'll say, yep, you're right. And guess what? It's my business as well. I have to take care of my business, so I'm not going to support. So I'd have one leg that I would no longer support because they've gone rogue and gone cross line. Okay. Now, if Miss Marie and Marie, and then Rob, if we come together as two people and we're both in Salt Lake City and we say, okay, we've known each other for a long time. We both build the business the same way. That's not. And we're going to hold events in one large. In other words, instead of having two venues that have 200 people or more in each one, we just bring them together and have one event, which is cost effective and more efficient, that holds 500-600 people. Okay. And why do we do that? Because Miss Marie and I build the business the same way. And so because we know that we're endorsing, it doesn't matter whether Miss Marie is doing the training or if I'm doing the training, she knows, and I know that if she's doing it and vice versa, that we are teaching the same thing. Meaning that all the people in that room walk away, and even though they go to a coffee shop after the training or event, whatever, and they start talking, they're going to have conversations about the same subject matter because why? The same thing has been taught regardless of who was on stage doing the training, right, Miss Marie?
Well, absolutely. And I think also, along with the fact that it's economical and makes more sense to combine forces in that situation, especially if you're doing any type of recruiting associated with that event, you've got more people than you actually have in your own organization, right? And it builds the energy that much more. It makes it look that much more popular. It's a little bit more impressive, and it is more of a proof of concept for people who may be considering getting involved in the business. It's just
right.
more impressive, I think.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of synergy comes with a larger, and that's part of the thing. And you got to realize leaders like Marie and I that say, okay, let's bring them together. The number one consideration to bringing the organizations together in the same venue is because we understand, once again, the number one consideration is, hey, we both teach our people the same thing. We're using the same business building system. So that immediately says, okay, this is going to work. Then what we're looking at is the efficiency part of it. And it's not because of the cost for Marie and I. What it is, the efficiency is because we have the people's attention and we have 500 people that we can train all at the same time. And everybody's walking away with the same information. And everybody's walking away with the same focus, okay, and the same purpose. You can't beat that. There's a synergy that goes with that. And when you have 500 people instead of 200, there's this magical thing that takes place when people are around other people. You just can't beat the numbers, right, Miss Marie? Because the numbers of the 500 versus 200, there's a visual impact. And people say, oh my gosh, look at all the people. There's a lot of people like me out here. 200 people is impressive, but when you have 500 people are like, oh my gosh, this is really exciting. There are other people out there just like me. They're out there trying to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a lot of synergy, and a lot of these people are going to get together in coffee shops and eateries afterwards and talk, and they're going to really bond, and they're going to walk away more focused, more empowered, have more energy and determination than they ever could have had meeting even her and I one-on-one. Okay, there's just something magical. So there's number two reason why you bring all these people together in the venue. As leaders, we're trying to empower you. It's not for us. We can afford the venue. What we're doing is trying to bring you guys together, as long as everybody is being trained the same way, so that you guys can experience that magical moment that could possibly catapult you to whatever level you want. That's the reason why we do it, okay? Now, that's not Crossline, bringing people together. And let me give you a couple examples. When I was in Amway, I was part of the Bill Britt organization. And, of course, Bill Britt was under Dexter Yeager. So you can see, and, of course, Bill Britt sponsored Ron Preer, which I was part of the Worldwide Dream Builders organization. So you can see the hierarchy there, and that's a legendary hierarchy. So the thing is that when we attended Worldwide Dream Builder organization events, Miss Marie, Bill Britt was always on the stage. He was always the featured speaker. Why? Because it was his organization. Ron Preer was one leg. You see what I'm saying? And Ron Preer started Worldwide Dream Builders with the help of Bill Britt. Okay, and Bill Britt had the Britt organization, and of course, I forget what Dexter Yeager's organization is called, but Dexter Yeager was one of the legacy people of Amway, you know. And then the bottom line is, you can't get any better. They're literally the fathers of modern network marketing as far as organizational structure and how to build a profitable business, and et cetera, et cetera. So the bottom line is that you were learning from the founding members of the business model themselves. They were there from the beginning, and I don't mean like in 1958, but they were there from like the early 60s, and they helped put in the business model, refined it, et cetera, et cetera. So you couldn't get any better teaching. Now, why is that important? Because they did exactly what we're talking about. Bill Britt brought his people from other, like, you know, Bill Britt sponsored 100 and something people, I think, Miss Marie. And so that means he had 100 and something 50 legs, right? And out of that 150 legs, he probably had 70 something of them that were active on a massive scale. I'm guessing. I don't know the exact numbers. And so out of those 70 something people, he would bring as many of those together as possible under one venue. If Ron Preer says, Bill, we're going to have an event in Phoenix, Arizona, Bill would say, well, great. I have people in Phoenix, Arizona. There's about 3,000 people there. He said, I want to bring them there at your event as well. Why did he do that? Because he helped Ron Preer put together Worldwide Dream Builders, and they both teach the same thing. Okay? And so Bill Britt would be on stage. He would do the motivational, and Ron Preer would come in and do the details, how to build a business, right? And the reason they did that is because guess what? They both knew they were comfortable being on stage together. Their egos were not big. At the same time, they knew that they were both teaching the same thing. So they were able to bring, and all these venues, think about it, Miss Marie, when we were in Phoenix, we rented out the NBA arena. When we were in Salt Lake City, they rented out, guess what? The Palace, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, there was always 10 to 20,000 people at each one of these events. And they were a combination of Bill Britt and Dexter Yeager's and Ron Preer's people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm talking about here, guys. That is not Crossline. And that's the importance of having all these people come together. And when you're a leader, you make those considerations because you want to make sure that you maximize the moment and the number of people, because it's going to benefit the attendees. It's not, we've already done it. What we're trying to do is get you to understand how you can do it. And when you're out there, and Miss Maria, there's always, you know, I mean, you and I met at one of those events, okay? And we became friends. But when we were doing lunch and stuff, when we took a break at the training and all this and that, we were discussing what we heard and learned in those events. Remember? I
do. Yep.
And we talked about how could we incorporate that into what we were doing, what would be the benefits. And so the thing is that we were sharpening in our own minds what we learned. And guys, here's the thing. In those events, you're going to learn the basics. And then you say, well, I can use this and I can use that. And you start putting together your own toolbox, if you will. Now, you can't leave out any of the 5 steps. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you say, okay, you know what? I'm really good at time management, so I can put this in my toolbox. And now I have a business building system, and I'll put that in my toolbox. And you know what? I got to get better at speaking to people, so I can't put that in my toolbox yet. You see what I'm saying, Miss Marie? You learn what you're good at. You learn what you're not. You listen to other people. You say, and Marie says, well, this is how I talk to people. This is what I say. Oh, wow, that's really cool. I'm going to have to learn that. And so that's what happens when you're at these events, right, Miss Marie? You start building a toolbox. And you can't hardly do that on your own. So that's the importance of having these moments where these organizations come together. All right. Now, what we do is when we tell people that come together, because Miss Marie, sometimes you'll have a rogue downline sneak in at these live events. You can't always monitor, obviously, every person. And you'll have some rogue person out there, you know, saying, well, I don't do it that way. I do it this way. And I'm having success. And you know what? I don't listen to Rob or Marie. What I do is I talk to Daniel over here, and he's with so-and-so organization, and that's really working for me. And I'm just here because I want to meet people, and I'm going to be part, whatever. You've heard it before. And these people are dangerous to your own organization. We're not going to badmouth it, but do you know what? You need to be aware of the yin and the yang, the bad and the good. And in this situation, when you got somebody that's going rogue, there are things that, and then you got to realize they're having this much success, and Rob and Marie have this much. So who are you going to listen to? Somebody that's having limited success and has gone rogue and is working with somebody totally outside of the organization, doing things that are giving them this limited success, and they think that they're on the path, to where their business is going to just explode and take off. Hopefully it will for them. Kudos to them. It's their business. We can't tell them what to do. But we also, the moment we hear that they're working with Daniel, we know that we got to cut that off immediately, because all it does, Miss Marie, is bring confusion. Because your downline starts saying, well, how do I know that Robert Marie is totally 100% right? How do I know that this Daniel guy over here that's got his own organization isn't better? I like what they're doing better than I like here. If you want total confusion and anarchy in your business, allow Crossline. And here's Daniel's organization, and here's Rob and Marie's. Okay, you don't want Daniel's organization chipping away at Rob and Marie's and causing all this confusion. Okay, and also you have to realize, guys, is that let's say that some of the people in Rob and Marie's organization, they say, you know what, I don't like Rob and Marie. I don't like what they teach us. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to work with Daniel. Well, that's not possible. Okay. If the company's going to enforce their bylaws are very clear. If it's a legitimate network marketing company, their bylaws are clear, is that you cannot sign up with Rob and Marie and then try to get out of their organization and work over here with Daniel. And you say, well, I'll work with Daniel anyway. Well, that's cool. Okay, if that's what you want to do, it's your business. That's fine. We're not going to support you. Okay. You've made it clear what your intentions are. We cannot endorse that, because we're endorsing disaster in our own business. So when our business fall apart, we just have to look in the mirror and see who's at fault, because we didn't have the guts to stand up and say that we're no longer working with you. Okay. Now the point is, you say, well, he has a right to work with Daniel. You're right. But here's the thing. He does not have the right by the company bylaws to give up his ID number, which is attached to Rob and Marie, to go work with Daniel. Well, I'm going to disassociate myself from Rob and Marie, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to sign up under Daniel. The company, if it's legit, is going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. And Daniel's not going to help you. Okay. Why? Because Daniel is not getting any volume from your success. Right, Ms. Marie?
Well,
and it's also done, it's money.
Right. Well, and the big risk with allowing somebody like Daniel or somebody from a Crossline organization that is not in sync with your method of training, your mode of duplication, is that it creates that shiny object syndrome for people in your organization, because you may have people who are new, you may have people who are struggling a little bit, and it may be for reasons other than the system and what you're teaching. But Daniel comes in and starts saying, oh, this is working great over here. And they're like all of a sudden losing focus and looking off at doing something that's actually not going to help them. It's just going to distract them and prolong the time it takes them to experience any type of success, because they're just jumping from one thing to the other without really focusing and putting the time and effort in that's required.
Right. And so what you're going to have, guys, is that you're going to have a situation that if you allow this to happen, it's going to get out of control very quickly. And once again, all the hard work that you have put in to your business could end up being for naught if you allow your rogue leader and your downline rogue leader to work with Daniel and spread how cool Daniel's organization and business building system really is compared to Rob and Marie's. Okay. And once again, we always say, well, yes, it's their business. They have a right to do that. But it's also, you got to remember, the other side of the coin is this is my business and I have a right to cut you out because I cannot endorse this activity. Okay. And if it continues with this person, you can call the company and say, hey, look, this person's causing real issues. You're going to be in a position where as a company, you're going to lose a lot of volume because this is going to spread and this is what's going to happen. Most companies are aware of these things and understand the damage that can be done. And guess what? They don't want to lose money either, especially if you built a large organization and your organization is growing very quickly. They're going to be like, oh, hell no, we can't afford to lose Rob and Marie's business. You know what? We're going to have to put a kibosh on this. All right, Miss Marie, and they'll send a message to Daniel and the other individual saying you will cease or your ID numbers will be taken away. So, but you can't always depend on the company. The company is not your friend. We talked about that. We did an episode on that as well. The company is concerned about one thing, the company. The second thing they're concerned about is survival. The third thing they're concerned about is profits. Okay, so let's make it clear. They're not worried about Rob and Marie, and they're not worried about Daniel. What they're worried about is that the damage this could cause to their bottom line. Right, Miss Marie? So
absolutely.
Yep. So that is what we're talking about as far as cross-line considerations in this particular episode, and that is Rob and Marie bringing their organizations together under one roof to make it as efficient and effective as possible because of the synergy that's created by a large number of people that are in the same area. Okay. And you can do the same thing online. If you have 10 people online at a virtual event, and then 6 months later you have 1,000 people, guess which one's going to have a bigger impact? Okay. The 1,000 people, because the people that get on there are going to say, oh my gosh, look at all the people. Man, these people are really popular. They must be really good. There's a endorsement in the head right away. You don't have to speak a word, and there's a huge endorsement right there. Okay, so it tells you, what does that tell you? That Rob and Marie know what they're doing. They're teaching people the right things, and guess what? People are excited because they're getting results. So more and more people are saying, hey, I got to get on that thing because guess what? These guys know what they're doing, and they're helping a lot of people. I see a lot of success stories coming out of this. And that's what you want in a live environment as well when you bring the two together. Now, we talked about Crossline as individuals, okay, as we summarize. In other words, we have one person, this is Rob and this is Marie, and there's one person out of each organization that says, hey, I'm going to go over here and work with so-and-so. And let's say that they're in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. In other words, Marie has people in Louisville and I have people in Louisville without our knowledge and without them contacting us and say, hey, we're going to get together. Okay. That's going cross-line. Okay. And you're saying, well, that's the same thing you guys are doing. No. Not in this situation. We're working together to teach people the same system. Here we may have rogue leaders or growing leaders. They're saying, hey, we're going to work together and we're going to teach people our way of making it happen. Okay. That is bad. We did an episode on that. At the same time, you have an organization that is in your downline that says, hey, I like the way Daniel does it better. I'm going to totally ignore Rob and Marie saying, as a matter of fact, I'm going to call the company and see if I can get my ID number rejected and go over here and sign up with Daniel because I like what he does better. And and if he doesn't get his wish, because the company says, no, you can't do that, then he gets pissed off and he starts spreading bad news and bad rumors in your organization. That's a bad situation because they weren't allowed to go cross-line from one organization to another. In other words, they weren't able to leave ours to go sign up with Daniel. Okay, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Now, some people will say one of the ways to get around it, Miss Marie, without dragging this on, because we need to close this out, is they'll sign up their dog in Daniel's organization and work through that. And leave this ID with Rob and Marie there, but not do anything with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll try and take their downline with them by getting them to sign up their parakeet, their snake, their spider, right, Miss Marie? Even their tire or their car. They call their car Susie, Guess what, right? I mean, it's happened.
Oh, sure. And I've even seen it done where people have quit a network marketing company. They abandon their ID, they quit, and they'll wait the year, the 18 months, whatever the network marketing company has decreed is the timeline. And then they'll go sign up in a different organization because they want to be with that specific network marketing company. Now, obviously, in the framework that we're teaching and training in, to give up 12 to 18 months in a regular, in what could be a incredible growth spurt for a company, you're sacrificing a lot of potential income by doing that. Yeah. So that's just, to me, that was always kind of a crazy thing. But when it comes to the established companies that have been around for a while, I've actually seen that on a couple occasions.
Right. And it's sad.
It is.
It is really sad, but it's part of the industry, unfortunately. There's not a lot you can do about it. You just have to do what we just talked about here, okay, and move forward. That's all you can do. And put out, and as we close, you just put out a blast or get your leaders on a Zoom call and you say, hey, look, so-and-so in the downlines want to work with Daniel organization, and we have addressed it. And we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what they're going to say. But hey, we're all going to stay focused on the 5 simple steps. We're going to move forward. Everybody's having great success with it. Don't get distracted. These things happen, and that's just part of life. And we're all going to move forward. If any of you get contacted by them, please let us know, and we'll work with you to minimize any potential problems that could come up out of that. And you just you to be uplifting and positive and move on. You don't get on the call and start knocking them. Anytime you start doing that, guys, you lower yourself to that individual's level, and it becomes a bitch fest. He said, she said. What you want to do is lift yourself up by being positive and saying, hey, if any of you got a problem with them, let us know. We'll all work together as we move forward towards your goals to address that situation. Right, Miss Marie?
Right. Yep.
All right. That being said, we need to get off here. We're running a little bit behind. Tomorrow's subject, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always, on our Facebook page or YouTube channel, the cost of doing business in the MLM. It's not just the initial cost. It's a number of other things that we're going to be talking about. And people don't realize the cost of doing business in this business model, Miss Marie. And we're going to talk about that in great detail tomorrow, because you guys have a right to know what kind of price you're going to pay, not just in money, but also in blood, sweat, and tears. So with that being said, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as you can see there. Miss Marie, you have anything to add before we go?
I do not. I look forward to tomorrow's topic. It's going to be another good one.
It is going to be another good one. All right, guys, be careful, be safe. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. Download our podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast platforms. Visit our website at www.themlmsolution.net for additional important information, show details, and past shows. Follow us on Parler, Rumble, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button, or the get notified button while visiting our other social media platforms.